Hi there, my name is Craig Stewart and I'm a survival instructor and I've been teaching survival skills for a couple of decades. One of my favorite things to do is teach people how to start fires in survival scenarios. One of the most popular fire starting methods is flint and steel. And so in this video, I just want to really quickly show you how to start a fire using flint and steel. This is my flint and steel fire kit, the ones that I sell, but this is the same process for any flint and steel fire starting process. So just because I'm using my own and the ones that I sell on my website, don't let that deter you from watching the video, because you're going to learn something in watching this video, especially if you stay with me till the very end. I'm going to teach you not only how to use flint and steel, but also how to char your own materials at the end of this video. So there's a lot of great learning opportunities here. So this flint and steel kit comes in a little drawstring bag like this, and almost all flint and steel kits are pretty similar. They come in a metal container of some sort, and we're going to use that to char materials here in just a little bit. This particular flint and steel kit comes with a few different things. It comes with some jute twine so that you can tear that jute twine up like this right here and make your own tinder bundle. And you'll see me start a fire using this tinder bundle in just a second. But we're going to use that jute twine, we're going to tear that up, kind of make it into a hairball like you might see in my hairbrush, and we're going to turn that into a tinder bundle. We've also got some white pieces of cotton cloth, and we're going to char those here in just a little bit. We've got a little waterproof bag with some char rope inside. This is 100% cotton rope that's been charred, and I'll talk to you about exactly what charring is here in just a minute. This is what we're going to use right out of the gate to start our fire. So I'm going to keep a piece of this out. Set this down. And then we have the two real working tools of the kit. We've got a chunk of flint and we've got our steel. Now this is carbon steel, because every time I take a piece of carbon steel and I strike it against something sharp or something harder than the steel itself, it shaves off a little piece of that steel, and that steel oxidizes really quick or rusts really quick, which causes it to ignite, okay, and create that little spark that you see. So the spark that you see is actually coming from the steel, not necessarily the rock, okay? So we're shaving off little pieces of this steel with this rock. So knowing that, that tells us a lot about how we behave with this striking process. We don't want to do this. We don't want to like grind it, okay? Because remember, we're trying to shave off a piece of this steel. So we want to really strike it. We want to really come down on it. You see how I'm coming at that in a striking motion? I'm striking this flint rock with purpose, okay? And that's really like your little, if you do this right here just without purpose, like I don't really care about my life type strike, then you're never going to get a spark, okay? You got to strike down like you mean it, with some purpose and with some intention, all right? If you hold the edge of your flint up at a slight upward angle, that helps to get a little bit more bite on your steel. So I'm going to strike, give it a little bit more bite. Now I'm not wearing safety glasses in this video. Shame on me. But whenever you do this, you should definitely be wearing safety glasses, because the last thing you want is a little piece of this flint in your eye. All right? So do what I say, not what I do. How about that? So we're going to strike all those little pieces, get all those little sparks. Now here's where the magic of this process takes place. These are very low temperature sparks. It's not like a big fancy ferro rod. This is some kind of primitive fire starting methods here. So the unique thing about charred materials like this piece of char rope is that it will take a spark, even the tiniest of sparks that I'm sparking right here, it will take that spark and it will run a smolder. It will continue to smolder and turn into a really nice ember that we can place into a tinder bundle and blow into flame. So I'm going to hold, using my thumb, this piece of char rope right up against the edge of that flint where I strike this steel, so that when I strike it, my hope is that one of those little sparks is going to fly right into my charred material. It's going to create that ember that I need to blow into flame. It smolders pretty quick. It's only a couple inches long. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place that piece, that big ember, into my tinder bundle, into my jute twine that I've torn apart. And there we go. I'm gonna blow that into flame. I'll put that down in my fire there. When you've got a good tinder bundle, it lights up pretty quick. And so from there, obviously, I can use that tinder bundle to build a fire like I'm doing. But here's the thing, is in order to use flint and steel, you actually have to have a fire first, right? Because you have to char materials. Well, the great thing about this kit is I give you everything you need in order to get that done. In fact, you only need two things to char materials. You need a metal container and you need some natural fabric like this cotton. Denim works really well also. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this cotton, I'm gonna pull it apart and I'm gonna put all these three pieces of this cotton cloth right inside of this tin. I'm gonna let my fire burn down for a couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and show you exactly how to make char cloth. All right, so I've got my three pieces of white cotton cloth. It's gotta be an all natural material. It can be anything natural. In fact, it could be leaves or even punky wood, but cotton works really well, so does linen and hemp, and even the rope forms of this works really well too. I don't need any holes. If it's a real airtight container, I'd want to pop a little tiny pinhole in it. But the seal around the edge of this container, it's not perfectly airtight. So some of those volatile gases while this is charring are going to burn off and escape via that seal. I'm going to take these tongs. I'm going to place my container right into the fire, just like that, right in there. Okay. And this process is only going to take 2 to 5 minutes. And what's going to happen is I'm actually completely changing that cotton cloth to a carbon version of itself. All of those organic compounds and volatile gases affiliated and associated with that cotton are all going to burn off. And in the absence of oxygen, okay, because there's not very much oxygen inside that closed container, that material isn't going to burn like it would if I just threw it into the fire. Instead, it's going to change in composition to a charred version of itself. And that's what char cloth is. It's very similar to like a charcoal that you would use to cook in your barbecue grill, okay? So I'm just gonna wait and let that kind of happen. It's only gonna take a couple of minutes, and you're gonna see some of those volatile gases burning and escaping off around that lid. And typically when you see it stop smoking and kind of burning a little bit, that's when that process is going to be done. So it's gonna wait a couple of minutes and I'll pull it off and let it cool, and then I'll show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so it's been 2 or 3 minutes and I'm not seeing any more smoke or flames escaping around the edge of that lid. So I'm gonna take my tongs here, reach in and grab my tin. Don't touch it because it's incredibly hot. And I'm just gonna set it right over here to cool off. And when it's nice and cool, I'll pop the lid off and show you what's inside. All right, so it's been a couple of minutes. My tin feels pretty good. Let's see if it's nice and charred. Oh yeah, look in here. It looks just like the cotton cloth that I put in there, except it's completely black and charred. And that's what you want. You want something that looks like you put it in there, except it's totally different. It's like a charred version of that, okay? You don't want it to be kind of brownish. You want it to be nice and solid and black. If it's kind of brownish and won't readily tear apart in your fingertips, then it's probably not finished and you might need to char it for a little bit longer, okay? But you're gonna find out really quickly whether or not you've got a good char material, because we're gonna test it, right? We're gonna test it using our flint and steel. So I got a piece of this. I've got a tinder bundle prepared here. I'm gonna reach back into my little bag. I'm gonna pull out my flint and steel. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I did just a little bit earlier with the rope, except I'm gonna use this piece of cloth. All right, I'm gonna see if I can impress you and get this the very first time. Gonna hold this really close. I'm gonna strike it like my life depends on it. Took me a couple of times. Hopefully that's still impressive. It's running pretty quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it into my tinder bundle. And there we go. I've successfully charred some cotton cloth. Fire likes to climb, so I'm going to turn it upside down, toss it into my fire pit. So hopefully you learned something with that quick tutorial about flint and steel. If you like this kit, then obviously I sell this kit. You can click on the link below. It'll take you to my website exactly where it's available. I've got a limited number of these, but it's a really great little kit, and it comes with everything that you see there. Regardless though, I hope you learned something from this video and have a takeaway that, who knows, may one day save your life. Remember, it's not if, but when.